Boom.
We up and running?
You're.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are right back at you with another episode of In Brotherly Love. Look, it's been a long time. Shouldn't have left you without a strong show to step to, but we right back. Look, we're going to have a great show tonight. We're going to talk about this Roe v. Wade overturned decision, the overturned Roe v. Wade decision. And I know a lot of us don't know a lot about it, but we're going to talk about it as best we can because we were really concerned when we heard about it. We were concerned about the rights of women to have, full autonomy or full control of their bodies, of their persons, and about the state telling women what they can and cannot do with their bodies. And I just feel like that's just wrong. And interestingly, I'm a man, yes, but I do feel like when you talk about reproductive rights in terms of who's actually carrying a child, I do feel that women should have the last word on that. So my name is Jay Wendell Gordon. I'm the Warrior Lawyer. I'm a dad, HBCU grad from the DMV. Got my brothers with me, Jeff and Jason, from Morgan State University, the baddest and the boldest. And you know this, Morgan State, let's keep it straight. Don't go astray with those other HBCUs. We right here. Who got next?
You right there. But this is Jeff Gordon jumping in. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are right back at you once again. And we're glad to be here. Life kicks in, we get things going. Everybody's got daddy duty. Everybody's got jobs. We got to pay them bills. But here we are. We came back at you, and man, it's a lot that's been going on since we've been gone. This Roe v. Wade we're going to talk about. Hey, R. Kelly, bro, you not having a good day. Anyway, so my name is Jeff Gordon. I'm an HBCU grad from the Hampton University, the standard of excellence. I'm a father. I'm a son. And I'm a brother to these two kings right here. Go ahead, baby of the bunch, squirt.
Here we go. What's going on out there, folks? It's the baby of the bunch, Jason. That's the voice, Gordon. I am a graduate of one of the best HBCUs known to man. We always in the top 2, and we ain't number 2. None other than your home of your MVP, Madam Vice President Kamala Harris, the Mecca, Howard University. I am an HBCU grad. I am a husband. I am a father. I am an uncle. I am a son, and I am a brother to these two gentlemen right here. And as you can see, life happens sometimes. So, we're just glad to be back with you all on this week. And we've got a hot topic for y'all one more again. So let's get this thing popping, baby.
Yeah, this one's hot as baked clams, man. I'm telling you. Look, when the Supreme Court came down with the decision that affected a lot of women, they couldn't be silent about it. But what has confounded me even more is the chance came out, really fast and quickly, but seems like it's died down a bit. And I want to make sure that this issue stays at the forefront. I want to make sure that women know out here that there are some men out here who really support the right to be in control of your own bodies, in control of your own person, you know what I mean? And whether you're carrying a child or not. So we just wanted to discuss that issue of Roe v. Wade and just talk about what that means. Now, Jason, your wife is an OBGYN, and I know there's some fear that women will be out back in the alleys again with the hangers, like, doing some crazy stuff, trying to, get a baby out, you know what I mean? So, it's very, very, very fragile times we're in. It seems like everybody's on the edge, and the Supreme Court did nothing to quell that type of experience. So how did y'all feel about it? I mean, I know y'all probably weren't, dying over it, but you had to feel something knowing that 50 years of precedent is now down the tubes.
So to be honest with you, yes, my wife is an OBGYN. My wife is
guns out, huh?
Hey, look, man, let me tell you, man, if the weather is good, you know what I'm saying? The weather is hot. So I'm just out here just chilling, you know what I'm saying, doing my thug thistle. But one of the things that I did notice, because I'm kind of tapped in to a lot of sisters on the streets, the sisters really were they disappointed? Yes. But the biggest piece that I saw from the sisters is that they kind of stood down because this isn't their fight. They knew this was going to happen because of who who, if we just gonna call a spade, who white women voted for. You know what I'm saying? So they knew that this was going to happen. And if you look at most of the protests that are out there on the streets, you don't see a whole lot of sisters doing a whole lot of protesting. The sisters are actually pretty quiet because they knew that this was coming, and they did their part. You know, they voted for the people who they felt would protect their rights. It's the white women that are upset. And the reason why they're upset is because now they're noticing that the people that they voted in, the people that they trusted, like I laughed at Susan Collins when she gave her response saying that they lied to me to my face privately, saying that they would uphold Roe v. Wade. And they said this, and we're just like, you should have known better than to trust the coyote. The coyote was in the hen house. You let the coyote in the hen house, and you're upset that he decided that he was going to feast on some hens. You feel me? So sisters right now, are they disappointed? Yes. But are they disappointed to the place to where they're running to the front lines of this thing? No. And
I think the reason why they're not in the front lines is because they're getting drowned out, because this is an all women's fight. I don't know if this fight really is segregated in terms of race. I do feel like, you know, everybody's coming out into the streets, and, you know, Black people only make up 13% of the population in this country anyway. But I don't think it's lost on them what's at stake. God knows I don't think it's lost on them what's at stake. I feel like they've all, first of all, they have to grieve about it, but this is a serious loss, and then they have to figure out what to do next, because there's always a next. And apparently, you know, in order to make, you know, abortions legal in every state, it's going to have to be codified by this Congress or some other Congress. And I don't see that coming in the near future. What you say, Jeff?
I mean, I thought that what Jason was saying was very interesting, because I too was like, yeah, I heard a lot. We heard a lot of rumble, and then all of a sudden it kind of died out fairly quickly. And thinking that it's, you know, that the sisters are like, well, you know, this is not complete our fight. We told y'all still went ahead and did it. Now, it doesn't get lost. I mean, of course, we all, I think, were very concerned, because when we start to think about the what's next, it's like, well, what else are they going to decide that they want to strike down? Like, how many other laws out there are now up for grabs with this Supreme Court making these types of decisions when they're rolling back the clock on 50 years? Can they roll back the clock on 400 years? I mean, how far can they really take this? So I hear it, and, you know, part of it is like, okay, if the sisters are quiet, you know, Black women get quiet, bro. Y'all better watch out, because whatever's coming next ain't nice. So y'all better be careful, man. So that's like where we are. So I hear you, and I think it's disappointing. It was very disappointing that they took that approach, that the Supreme Court went that path. And I just think that we really have to sit down and be prepared for what's next. We got to vote, folks. This puts a lot of emphasis on who we have in office in our local, state, and federal elections. You know, this puts a lot of emphasis on who we have in office. So,
and to be honest with you, it also serves notice to those 10% of Black men, or it's down, it's under 10% with this last election, but to the 10% of Black men that voted in favor of these nut jobs. You know what I'm saying? Like this is. It's almost like between white women and the 10% of brothers, like, you know, these are the chickens coming home to roost.
Well, look, we talk so much about Black women. Now I got Black woman superior.
Let's go. Black
woman superior. This is my law professor, okay? My law professor from the University of Baltimore School of Law. What more can I say? Look, we went high class, man. We went to the top to get somebody to help us deal with some of our feelings, some of our emotion, and just what we need to do to deal with this issue. Professor.
I know. And listen, I'm trying to figure out, is this an angel above my head?
I think it's an angel. It's your halo.
Yes, is that what it is? Because I don't know what is going on. So I'm going to choose a different No, it's there. I wonder oh, you know what it is? It's the sun.
The light.
Oh, it's the sun.
It's the sun coming in. So hold on, I might try to close this up.
All right.
It's the sun and a halo.
Wear your crown, Queen. Wear your crown.
There you go.
There you go. That's what it is. So, what's the topic tonight?
We're talking about Roe v. Wade and whose fight is it? Who's in the fight? We heard we heard the initial grumblings, but has it died down? Like, what are we going to do about this? Like, a lot of us are really affected by this. And what do we need to do? Obviously, it's going to have to happen politically because the Supremes have spoken. But what was your take on it? How did you feel about it when the news came down that Roe v. Wade was going to be overturned?
Honestly, what I thought to myself is that the Republicans are really good at having long-term strategies, and Democrats are not. I mean, this has been in the works for a long time, not only in terms of legislatively, but also with the creation of that Federalist Society that started grooming judges from the time that they were in law school and making sure that they got promoted to do certain things. So it's saddening, it's sickening, but it's not surprising. And, in many ways, I think there was even an article in I think it was in the Washington Post today that said, we need to fault Democrats for this, sitting back, being complacent, not doing stuff, and quite honestly, for having old head leadership that keeps trying to do things the same way that they were done 20, 30, 40 years ago without understanding that it's a new world. So yeah, I'm upset as a woman. I'm upset as a Black woman. I'm upset as a lawyer. I'm upset as an American. I'm upset as somebody who believes in human rights. I'm upset.
Wow. So this thing is political. I mean, you put it right back in the hands of the Democrats because they did not have the forethought to groom people the same way the Republicans have. And so if that's the case, we're like 20 years out from some type of return if we were to start today. I mean, that's very
well, you still have the statehood, the DC statehood issue, and there's a couple of other issues that would bring on additional Supreme Court justices. So why wouldn't we go ahead and make that move?
What's going to bring on additional?
That's because the Democrats are scary. All right. Part of the issue is that the messaging was the messaging. The Democrats have suffered from a messaging issue, whereas the Republicans will talk about race, and we know, and Democrats know that there's a race issue, and we'll avoid the race issue. The Republicans, if you look at the moves that they've made, they went to banning critical race theory in states. And it's like, you're banning critical race theory in public schools, and it's not even taught at the secondary or primary level. Like, they literally, and I'm gonna be honest with you, like, we've been talking about TikTok taught me. I saw a very interesting TikTok where they showed exactly systematically how the Republicans have moved from the time of Brown versus the Board of Education to now, and putting all of the blocks in place to do exactly what they did. They've been making this move since Brown versus the Board of Education and the Civil Rights and the Civil Rights Act. They've literally been moving. They've been rebranding, remessaging, trying to figure out ways to bring on that Southern Baptist leadership movement to get Christian pastors to buy into their theories. They've literally been moving underground, and now we're starting to see it. And because of the internet, you have, I forgot the name of that pastor that's in Tennessee, who's an absolute nut job, but you literally have pastors that are preaching this thing, whereas there's nowhere in the Bible where Jesus talks about abortion. There's no way. It's not there. And they've literally been pushing this theocracy ever since the Civil Rights Act. So do we have a messaging problem? Yes. Is it the Democrats' fault? Honestly, yes, because they were complacent. They didn't recognize that movement that's been going on for now 50 years. And now they're starting to see what's been happening for 50 years.
But I think, go ahead.
Well, I have two responses to that. First of all, I think you're absolutely right. But the reason why the Republicans got the conservative white Christians, because I do think it's important to point out that they've been going after the white Christians, is because it served as a unifying issue. I mean, when at the time that Roe versus Wade was decided, it's not
Right.
like Republicans were anti-abortion, but
Correct.
it served as a way to get them to have an other to hate in the same way that they use gay people as an other to hate, as the same way that they use Black people as a the hatred of Black people is a unifying force. So that's the way that this issue got used politically. But the other thing is that the Democrats have it seems to me in the end feel uneasy with telling white people that need to be told to go to hell, right? I think that the Democrats feel very uneasy with knowing that their majorities depend upon the existence of people of color. Because without people of color, the Democrats fall apart.
That's true.
It's as simple as that. And, and for those that don't know it, I believe that in every election since 1968, the majority of white people have voted for Republicans in presidential elections. So I'm just like, let those people go. Rely on your people of color and well-meaning allies to move forward. But I think that Democrats are so busy trying to chase after those white people that they think that they've, quote, lost and who they're not going to get back with anything that they're doing, that they end up in the minority. Somebody, I read the other day that 53% of white women voted for Trump.
Right.
And if that's the case, who are these people? Why do Democrats still go after them?
They're the people. They're the white women who sit to your left or to your right. One of them,
they're married to those white men.
One of them voted for Trump, and
have those white sons.
And have those white sons. And even as Democrats, we're not talking about all Blacks either. Those Democrats are white too, so they're going after the white people as well. So that could be some of the reasons they don't want to offend what they call their, which is part of their base. So they're trying to dabble in two ponds. I mean, we could take if it was all Black and all white, I think it might be a little different story. But you got to have some of those white people vote for Democrats as well.
Yeah, and I think what you say is very poignant because we kind of see some of that when we look at the January 6th hearings and the way that whole situation was handled both through the courts and through the political process. Whereas through the political process, they were trying to rehabilitate some of these, hardened, I call them criminals. I mean, they were rioters, they were aiders and abettors to rioters. They were seditious folks, if that's a word, you know what I mean? They were all of those things, but at the hearings, I got kind of frustrated at listening to how they were trying to rehabilitate someone like former Attorney General Barr and some of those other folks who were actively complicit, if not actual participants in some of these events that took place on January 6th. And then you go over to how the law was treating them, giving them, first of all, they didn't get the charges that they would have gotten if they were African Americans. It probably would be some terrorist charges in those, or something of that effect. They got trespassing charges. Just these baby charges that ended up with baby time. And then these people are coming back out. Some of them are going to be, some of them were even more enthusiastic about
emboldened.
Emboldened. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. Emboldened about their previous positions. So, I mean, we really set this country up to a point where it's obvious that there is a divide in this country that is split and that race is a major issue. It's obvious that, they say Republicans versus Democrats, but it's really, that kind of splits. It's really
whites versus everybody else.
Basically, that's what it is. And then this country is moving into more of an apartheid, in my opinion, every day. And for us to sit up here and talk about it, that's one thing, but we definitely need to do more about it. Like first of all, some African Americans need to understand that Black is not a dirty word. Sometimes you get them out in public, they won't even use the word Black. They'll just point to this again, well, so-and-so. Like, what does that mean? Like, why is Black a dirty word? If you can't talk about it in a private conversation, one-on-one, then how can you advocate on behalf of Black? And I tell people all the time, like, say Black people should be a special interest. And if they're not, treat them as a special interest group, because we do have special interests that are different than other Americans. And if you understand that they're a special interest, then you shouldn't have any problems addressing our Black issues. And so I just feel on top of this woman's issue, because this is a major issue. And quite frankly, it's going to affect African-American women worse than anybody else, because everything.
I got to stop you for a second though. I hear you talking all that, but what is all this white stuff going on your shirt?
But the Ralph Lauren and everything?
Isn't that a polo thing on your shirt?
It is a polo.
The white thing?
Black people play polo.
Your...
I happen to know some Black people that play polo.
Okay. You know, I'm just messing with you.
No,
I'm just messing with you.
Point well taken. So I need to find, look, any designers out there, we need a black polo shirt that I can wear.
There you go. There you go. But yeah, the abortion issue is also a race issue. I mean, I think about abortion in a lot of different ways. I think about it as a lawyer. Like I said, I think about it as a woman. I think about it as a Black woman. And honestly, I also think about it as a Christian, because I am a Christian. But where I come down, particularly as a lawyer, is our understanding of the Constitution has always been that nobody has an obligation to use their body to take care of somebody else. Now, if you put this in a male perspective, imagine that you have a father whose child needs a blood transfusion, and that's going to be the only thing that keeps that child alive. There is no court in this country that would order that father to be strapped down to take 1 pint of blood to save his own child, let alone strap him down to take out a kidney or to do anything else. It is only pregnant women that are told, you must use your bodies to protect somebody else. And for me, as a gender issue, that bothers me. The other thing is just the way that abortion gets discussed among the pro-lifers acts like pregnancy is a passive issue, like you just sit there for 9 months and then a baby pops out. But when you look at things like the rate of maternal mortality for Black women especially, Black women die having babies. And Black women, and the way that an additional child may impact their finances, the way that having an additional baby may impact their personal lives. I mean, look, I can say it now because she's passed away, but my mother told me that she had an abortion between me and my sister. And she said, we could not afford to have another child right then. And if I were to guess about it, I would say that she also recognized that any additional childbearing or child rearing responsibilities were going to land on her. They weren't going to land on my dad. And so for her own well-being and for the well-being of our family, she decided, now I cannot have another baby right now. Now, interestingly, I asked her, you know, well, did you tell daddy? And she said, oh, hell no, I ain't tell him nothing. Right? She went on and did what she had to do, but it's a terrible thing when somebody tells you that you can't do with your body what you want. And I have a friend that had went through a whole lot of in vitro fertilization to have a child. And I have never been a person that wanted to give birth because it looked yucky. And I never, you know, I was like, you can go to the store and get a baby. I don't know why you would go through all of that.
Have you ever seen the cesarean section?
Huh?
I just saw a cesarean section on YouTube, and you are 1000% correct.
It's horrible. It's a horrible, horrible thing. But just as much as women will, who really want to have a baby, will do almost anything to have a baby, women who don't want a baby will do almost anything not to have a baby. And I think that reality should be taken into account, at least as we think about this politically. Legally, I think that this Supreme Court is, what it's doing to the idea of privacy is ridiculous. And if you see what Clarence Thomas said, well, maybe we need to revisit this gay marriage thing. Maybe we need to revisit whether or not states can bar contraception. Now, of course, he didn't say maybe we need to revisit whether or not there can be interracial marriage. But we'll
Yep.
leave that to
That was
another
a clear leave.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a clever leave out.
Right.
Right.
But it kind of taken back with going with Doc was saying about Black maternal mortality, which is something that my wife kind of specializes in, and she's kind of made that a passion of hers. That was information that they knew when they decided to do this. They know that Black women are dying at a dying three times as much in childbirth than white women. And they took that in. They weren't really in that particular decision because of what they've been getting as far as in the dark web and on race replacement theory, whatever they want to call this foolishness. They took all of that into consideration. They were looking at decline in Caucasian baby births, and that's what they were looking at. Actually, I think the data showed that by 2030 that they would then be in a minority at the current rate that things were going in if they had not.
Years.
Yeah. So like for Black people, yes, this is a Black issue. From the standpoint of there are moms that are literally dying at high rates, Black women that are dying at higher rates than white women. And those things need to be taken into consideration. But that wasn't taken into consideration when this decision was made. My brothers know my wife is pro-Black and as Black as they come. She is sister girl, rah rah, sis boom bop. You know what I'm saying?
And she happens to be white.
That was a joke, man. My wife is she is the antithesis of white. I went and got me a good old chocolate system. Like, let me tell you. So she, you know what I'm saying? And
I just had to crack a joke.
Yeah, she is a Black's Black. You know what I'm saying? But like things like that, like those are things that they're not taking into consideration. Well, they took it into consideration, but they are not. They're not thinking about sisters when they made that decision. They were looking at the fact that actually there was in several states, and I think that Texas is one of them, where there's basically a net zero in terms of white births. And that's the reason why Texas has gone so hard, and in Arkansas they've gone so hard. In places where there's a lot of poverty, they're at net zeros. And what I find so interesting about the quote unquote pro-life crew is that they want this baby's life to be considered while they're conceived, but then once the baby is born,
they don't want to do anything.
They don't want to offer any support. You're on your own. There's no universal health care. There's no universal pre-K. They were working to take away what had happened during the Obama era, which was making sure that women, infant, and children got their necessary needs so that they can take care of the child once they're here. Just a funny thought. Republicans were so happy about the overturning of Roe v. Wade, but then with the baby formula shortage, they voted it down. So it's just like these folk don't care about what it takes to get the kid here. They don't care about the kid once they get here. They just wanted to make its way to taking its breath. Once it takes its breath, you on your own.
Well, here's the thing that I recognize. Black people are adopting white babies now. Believe it or not, I can think of one of my contemporaries. Yeah, they're adopting white babies and they're raising them to better society, I would imagine, but they are raising them. So white babies will have a preference once they're born, and they're not solely going to white families. They're going to, his sisters are single women who are adopting white babies right now because they want to have a baby so bad, and they don't have an eye on color because the baby has no color.
So what's also funny, I saw a meme again on TikTok. I saw it somewhere. It may have been TikTok or Twitter. And the meme, basically, it showed what looked like a poor white family celebrating the overturning of Roe v. Wade. And then their daughter walks in with a brother, and they both start yelling, abort, abort.
Yeah, I saw that.
So, I mean, this thing is going to backfire in some respects. I do think that there will be some political action behind it. I don't know how long it's going to take, But I think that abortion may end up codified in some way by some Congress sometime soon. I don't know if this is going to be the precedent for the next 50 years. But if it does become the precedent for the next 50 years, and people like me wonder what's next? What's next on the chopping board? I mean, we've had the Civil Rights Act since 67.
I don't never ask that question.
Maybe that's 50s, getting close to 60 years. Are they bringing that back to revisit it and see what they need to do with that? And I've always said, man, if we don't start voting out here, slavery is just a vote away, man. I mean, you could change the constitutional amendment, you know, by, what is it? I can't remember what it is, the numbers, but more than two-thirds, Professor? And even if you don't remember, you don't even have to answer it. But I know there's a provision in the Constitution to amend the Constitution, for elected officials to amend the Constitution. If we don't get our act together, we could easily go back to slavery. And then you talk about trips to Ghana and Nigeria and every place else. You might end up being an immigrant.
Being shipped back. They're going to ship
refugee.
They're going to ship you back from Ghana.
Man, because, you know, one thing white folks are good at, they're good at organizing. They're good at that. They're good organizers, and they will catch you flat-footed if you let them. Like, you have to meet them at every stage, and you have to challenge them at every stage. You cannot get comfortable. Freedom is not free.
But what I was going to say is too, though, it isn't just about voting. We have to get more people to run for office. And I'm going to give a shout out to a friend, but one of my state delegates is Julian Ivey.
Okay.
And who is a young man, he's not 30 yet. But one of the things that I really like about Julian is that he encourages other young Black people to run for office. And, you know, it doesn't have to be for governor, it doesn't have to be for mayor. It can even be for something like a seat on a school board, where you see all of these crazy people, these, you know, we don't want you to say gay in school. We don't want you to talk about race in school. All of these are very small local elections. And so more people need to be involved in the process, not just going out to vote, because if you end up having a crappy slate of people to vote for, it doesn't make any difference. You got to get some good people and encourage one another. And for those of us that have a little bit of extra money, give your money to politicians that you want to see win. It doesn't have to be a lot, but a little bit from a lot of people can go a really, really long way. But as for, you know, I've been thinking about what this opinion means as a matter of constitutional law, and, you know, how it would be that, what it would mean if this case got overturned in a few years, the Dodd's case, because that would make it seem that the Supreme Court and our laws are totally pliable. It would mean not rule of law. And, you know, one of the few things that the American experiment has had going for it is that as a group, we do believe that the law is supposed to be the law, and we are supposed to follow it. But then I started thinking, there was a situation in, I can't remember if it was Chile or Argentina, where a military-based government changed the Constitution. And later, once they were out of power, there was a decision made that everything that Supreme Court did was illegitimate, because that phase of the court was illegitimate. And so it's making me wonder if at some point, and especially given the more things that we hear coming out about not only January 6th, but about the Trump presidency, if we might reach a point where we say that was an illegitimate presidency. And so all acts, including Supreme Court acts that took place during that presidency, should be rendered null. Because as far as I'm concerned, Donald Trump has been running the White House like a crime boss. You know, seriously, he's threatening people.
An understatement.
I mean, it's like they should call him Don.
The Donald is what he likes to be called.
But it's true. If you listen to how he talks about, he's always talking very vaguely about stuff. people say he never gives a direction. It's always like, you know what you need to do. And you're supposed to take from that. But he's able to say, I didn't tell anybody to do anything. Right. That guy is a straight up gangster.
Well, we all kind of knew that going in. Anybody who become president after grabbing some kittens, you know what I mean?
And talking about it. And right. Talking about it.
Yeah. But they, right. That was their guy, and for good reason, because he really jump-started he jump-started this nation in a way that perhaps it could not have been jump-started. He made it okay for people to have these types of feelings that they express physically. And I just think that he's done a disservice to this country altogether, but it's up to us now, because he's not in office, and we can't continuously blame him as the years go by. We have to take responsibility and put the blame where it belongs and do something about it, because there's no more pointing your fingers. You really have to remove people, and not just saying it out of your mouth, but you have to make a conscious, deliberate, strategic effort to get people out of office. And the only way to do that is not to consider not voting to be some form of protest.
Yeah, that ain't
because
it.
Not voting is not actually it's a surrender. When you don't vote,
it's a vote for the other side, basically.
Yeah, you have surrendered every important right that you have. You're leaving it to somebody else to decide for you. And so, yeah, it's not a sign of protest at all. It's a sign of surrender when you don't vote. So again, the primary is coming up July 11th. We have a long ballot, and we have a lot of issues that are very important to us. We have many candidates that we're looking to support, but we have to be there to vote for them. We cannot forget, just because it's summertime, that voting is not important, or we're going to continue to get decisions like we received through this latest Supreme Court round of decisions. And it wasn't just reproductive rights decisions, but also some criminal laws have been developed in a way that we did not want them to develop. And some other laws have come down and developed in ways that we don't want them to develop. Everything, the power is within the people. And if we can just understand and acknowledge and just respect that, then I think we would be more deliberate with our votes.
And talk to your children too, because I know at this point, there are a lot of 18-year-olds that are coming up. They really don't know. They don't have a real good idea, but sit down and have a conversation with them about those issues and help them understand how these issues do affect them, even though they don't really feel it right now, but they are being affected by the things that are taking place today. And it's going to hit them for, 5-10 years from now, and they're going to wake up, and then it's going to be way too late. So talk to your kids, help them understand, help them go through the ballot with them, help talk to them about the issues, try and understand their issues, and help them be able to bring those to the forefront so that they can be addressed early. So we're not caught always trying to play catch up, always trying to educate ourselves late in the game. We want to get ahead of this game so that we can really make some significant strides forward.
And I mean, not just talking to your kids, but you also need to talk to these white allies. You know what I'm saying? Like, white allies need to also talk to their family members about these particular issues. So like, as you were talking, my mind went to the state of Texas. So you have Texas where the governor literally, pushed an abortion law, the governor and the government pushed an abortion law through that doesn't even have exemptions for rape and incest. And basically all that does is embolden these type of bad actors. He used the thought that he was going to eliminate rape. And in the state of Texas, rape has actually doubled in the state of Texas ever since he said that particular point. We not just talking to your children, but you have to talk to the allies too. Like, hey, y'all got to handle this. This is y'all's issue too. Because I mean, everybody needs to be aware of these issues, and you have to kind of clear up the misconceptions that are being given in the dark web. And I even came to find out that some of these things, as far as these particular, Caucasian glorification issues, are even taught in homeschools. So like, these are the things that are actually going on. Yeah, these are the things that are going on, underneath the surface. And you have to get people that are even in those dark areas. In dark areas, you have to bring light to those dark areas, or they're going to continue to remain dark. So, I mean, granted, we've got to spread this message far and wide, to our children, to even the children we come in contact with, that these issues are human rights issues.
It definitely.
I might even go further and say that we, you know, I'm an educator, and I believe that education means everything. And education isn't just about going to school and passing to the next grade. Education is also about learning how to think critically. And I fear that not enough of our children, and frankly, not enough American children, are really being encouraged or taught how to think critically, so that instead of just repeating something that they've heard on TV or TikTok or Instagram, they can have their own thoughts. In fact, I know I'm supposed to call you Jay now. I used to not call him Jay. He used to have a different name. But Jay,
we know.
Can we stay on topic here tonight?
Let me share my screen for a minute. Let me share my screen, Jay. Can you fix that?
Jason's got control of it.
Who's got control? Jason?
Oh my God.
Because I saw something and I said, you know what?
You sound like you
I
should.
said,
yeah, she ready.
People,
She ready tonight.
I am ready. Because I think that the young people need to do something. So let me pull this up and then share the screen.
Yeah, you got it.
I want to see more young people out there protesting like this. So let me do this. Where's my Zoom thing? Share the screen. Make this big. Share the screen. And share.
Roll, please.
Make sure you can share sound too.
Can you see this? Can you see this?
Oh, you the coochie boss, right?
After that, it says "hoe ass nigga." So I want to see more.
I didn't say that. Oh my God.
I want to see. I want to see more. There you go. I made it a little bigger. I want to see.
All right.
I want people to understand that we can be our authentic selves and still go out and protest.
There you go.
Because this brother right here is authentic, and this brother is out here saying this abortion stuff is not right. And I saw this and I was just like, I love this young man. I don't know who he is. I don't even know where this is. But I want to see more young men out raising hell like this brother is. That would make me happy. Okay, I'm finished.
Yeah.
I just
hold
feel
on.
like
Keep that up, Professor, because you see that white girl right there? That's his girlfriend.
You know what, Jay? Do you have
cold-blooded?
I think that, you know, when people keep talking about stuff on the side like that, you wonder if they have like a secret desire that they can't voice.
No, I'm an old man. Look, I'm an old man now.
I'm just saying.
We'll mark that with a period as opposed to a comma.
Well, I just wanted to share this with your viewers and with you all. I thought you would appreciate it.
That is a great sign. And I don't even use the N-word. That's in that context.
I don't care. Look, he ended it with an A, and that makes all the difference.
Not to me, but it's all good.
Oh, because you would never say such a word? Okay.
I don't say that word.
He does it. I'll give him credit. He does it. He does.
Oh, good. Because,
Professor, why you on me tonight?
Hey. It's about time we turn the heat up on the warrior lawyer.
I know bringing some funk.
Wait a minute.
I know why, because I called at the last minute, so she has the right. She can throw a dart.
Yeah. Every dart you want to throw, Doc, you got him.
Jeff, are you the baby?
Huh?
Oh, she froze on that one. That was probably a good line too. That was gonna be a good line.
Jeff, are you the baby?
Am I the baby? I'm the youngest looking one, yes.
No, he's not. He want to be the youngest looking one. He trying. He's just glad that I am. He's just glad that he looked like the youngest.
Professor Neal.
Odina is fine.
You're not grown, boy. That's still your professor. What you talking about?
Professor Odina.
Yes, love.
Hey, let's find
Jason did win a first place in the baby contest, though. And
Oh,
I think
no, don't flip this on me, buddy. The spotlight is on
Y'all
you.
just keep talking over Jeff, won't let him finish a sentence. I'm just like, what is going on?
I know. See, thank you, Professor.
Oh,
So tell me what kind of student Jay Wendell was.
yeah, let's talk about that.
Let's talk about that. Did he turn his homework
I'm
assignments in?
going to tell you a story
Oh,
that I have told many people. I would say nothing to embarrass you. I would say nothing to embarrass you.
because
Absolutely
it's not just
not.
us four online. Like it's a lot of people online.
hey, but don't be
Yeah,
afraid.
I would never say anything to embarrass you.
Hey, Doc, this is a safe space. This is a safe space, Doc.
This is
No,
Brotherly
it's not.
Love.
This is a
No,
safe
it's
space.
not.
It's
No,
a safe
it's
space.
not.
Be free, Doc. Tell us the story in all of its grandeur.
No, it really is a great story. When he was can I use your real? I have to say Jay. I'll say Jay. Okay. When Jay was a first-year law student, the Black Law Students Association used to ask professors to volunteer to practice students' moot court arguments their first year with a professor before. And I was assigned to Mr. Gordon.
He's sweating, Prof.
The first time that he did it, let's just say I have heard better.
That boy shiny.
Okay?
Look at how
I
shiny the
have
warrior
heard
lawyer
that.
is.
He said it was
But
trash.
let me tell you this. At the end, when I sat and gave him his critique, and he wrote notes on everything that I was saying. And then he asked me, can I practice with you again? And I knew at that moment that he was going to be a good lawyer. And I knew he was going to be a good lawyer because he was able to listen, he was able to take criticism, and he was working hard. And really, if you have those things, you're going to be a good lawyer. So I knew when he was in his first year, this one is going to be a good lawyer. Absolutely. So, that's my story. And by the way, I've told that story to a lot of people saying, these are the qualities that you need to be a good lawyer. And this is who you can learn this from.
Send those care emojis and those love emojis, guys.
Yes,
Turn positive. Send the care and love emojis.
And the heart emoji. Send
But
the heart.
it's totally true.
Those care
It's
emojis,
totally
guys.
true.
Send the hug, the heart.
But look, the second time I knew he was being successful, I was driving my little raggedy car that was toe up and everything. And he pulled up beside me and started like, whoop, whoop. He's driving an all sweet car. I said,
You showing
making something, and it's not me.
Was he stunting, Professor? He was stunting on
No.
I wanted to just saying hi, but you never know.
I was so excited to see you. I just get excited every time I see that beautiful smile of yours. Professor, and look, we're just going to have a bromance right here. This is one of my favorite professors, and I think thousands of students will tell you the same thing, that Professor Odina Neal was your favorite professor. In fact, I slipped up and called her Odina because that's the type of relationship that you develop with someone as special as Professor Neal. And if anyone is looking to go to law school or make their way into the University of Baltimore Law School, you better make it your business to take a class with Professor Neal, because you will learn a whole lot more than just whatever the subject matter is. You're going to learn about life. So Professor Neal, not only is she an attorney at law, but she's an attorney at life. And I get good advice and good substance from her. So God bless you, Professor Neal, one of my favorites.
He must have got a B in that class or something.
I don't even know if he ever took a class with me. Did you ever take a class with me?
I feel like I took property. I did take something from it. I can't remember. It was
Boy,
it's based on that. It's based on, he was only in law school for a short period of time, but our relationship has lasted all these years afterwards.
But that's
and I use it as an example of a great alum of the University of Baltimore. So
precious lamb.
My God. Oh my God, he went there. Okay. And start saying, yes, well.
Go.
Hey.
You see, Jay, when Jay was over there sweating.
He was over there sweating.
Where you going with it?
Hey,
going off
man.
his glasses.
But look,
Wiping his
look,
head.
even if somebody says something negative about me, there was a time when I was nice to them too. You know what I mean?
Boy, Jay Window over there looked like dad after he was eating spicy food, boy. I tell you. Boy, that boy was hotter than the fish grease right there. Boy, he's like,
I didn't
Lord,
know,
where
I
this
didn't know what
going?
was coming next. I didn't know how the story was going to end, but she said she wouldn't embarrass me, so I trusted that much.
In fact, I don't know that you've ever done, or at least I don't know anything you've ever done that I could say that would be embarrassing.
Oh, I mean,
Exactly, because there's a certain thing called discretion.
we gonna leave it right there.
yeah. And we're gonna put a period on that.
How about that Roe v. Wade overturn?
Yeah, let's bring it back. Let's bring it on back.
Let's bring it back to Roe v. Wade. It's just, the people in Maryland, the citizens of Maryland, or people that make their way to Maryland to have an abortion are safe because we now have it enshrined as a matter of law that there is a right to abortion in the state of Maryland. I think that there's been a push to make it a constitutional portion of the Maryland state constitution. And I believe some other states are moving in that direction to have it be a matter of their state constitutions to enshrine the right to an abortion. But, the way that they always put it is, do you have a right to an abortion? And I don't even think, the question is, do I have a right to have control over my own body?
That's what it boils down to. That's it.
The real question.
That's it.
Do I have a right to have control over my own body?
Correct.
Do I have a right to decide who I'm going to marry? Do I have a right to decide whether or not I will use contraception? These are really what the rights are. It's not about abortion per se. It's never been about same-sex marriage per se. It's about, do I have a right to decide what I want to do with my life? And
as an
they're
adult,
taking that away.
Yes. Yes.
True words have not been spoken thus far, but you're absolutely correct. And I guarantee you, if men had to get vasectomies,
men had to get a vasectomy for everybody that had to have an abortion, it would change.
Yeah.
Hey,
what happens to the man? What happens to the man? You know what I mean? What
not even just that. If they had to get vasectomies, if they had if Viagra wasn't covered in their medical insurance, like that was one of the I guess rebuttals that I heard from I guess you could say women on the street. Like, yo, if I don't have the right to birth control, then men shouldn't have the right to Viagra.
Yeah, what about that 80-year-old man who's been taking that Viagra and gets that 50-year-old woman pregnant? Because women are having babies at late ages now. So, man,
they need to stop.
The baby what if the baby has Down syndrome or what's going to happen with these?
Or even like you say, even like
risk pregnancies.
If women get raped and then they got to have the double problem of now after going through that traumatic situation, and then they're going to have to bring this child into the world to constantly remind them of that traumatic situation. I personally don't think that's fair, and I don't think that's something that anybody should be trying to tell anybody what to do. I mean, I have to do a little research. It's like, why this even became a question? Because before it was a question, it wasn't. So why does it even have to be an issue at this point? But I get it.
Well, I might even go one further than these hypotheticals you're talking about and say, well, what if we decided that life didn't begin at conception, but with the spilling of sperm?
With the spilling
what
of
if
sperm?
It became illegal.
Oh, wow.
For men to spill their sperm for any reason except procreation.
Right.
If they did, they could be prosecuted for it.
Because good old Clarence did say, what was that? It was Clarence. Well, that would affect that whole sodomy issue because good old Clarence wanted to talk about everything. So now you those are them cats sitting in Arkansas with them dried up socks. You know what I'm saying?
Look, about dried up socks.
Them dried up socks would be murder.
Out here that may not be goats anymore.
You know what I'm saying? Them dried up socks may be murder now. You know what I'm saying? These cats will be upset.
Okay, somebody explain to me what the dried up socks are.
when they go to choke their
Oh,
chicken, they release the chicken juice in a sock.
yeah, come on. You know what it is. Look, like you haven't been 13 years old.
I didn't use a sock. I used a towel. He's good self-respecting man.
Why you messing up your mama's towels like that?
And mama trying to
Hey,
figure out
my testimony might help somebody. Stop using them dried up socks. They dirty. Use a towel.
Now mama wonder why
Oh,
when
yeah.
she went to wash the towel be like this.
right.
Stuck together.
Hey, look,
Towel be
hey,
like stuck together like this.
it's
Hey,
a bunch of mothers. It's a bunch of mothers that just went, "Oh my God."
hey, bro. Look, if those men are considered murderers and that's felonious, boy, oh boy.
Right.
Hey, look,
I
they
mean,
don't
but
be getting them little boys early now. They're 13, boy. You going to jail? You better stop.
And hopefully, we're gonna get Roe v. Wade back. It's gonna end up being codified. We're not gonna prosecute men for wasting sperm, as Professor Neal said. And we're gonna get back to a society where everybody's treated with equality and equity. We're gonna make America great again one day, but it's gonna take us and those coming behind us to make America achieve its full potential.
Don't even use again. Just say we're gonna make America great.
Again, ooh, right.
Yeah, we're gonna make America great.
I'm talking about the pre-Roe versus Wade. I mean, the pre-overturn of Roe versus Wade.
We're gonna
okay.
I
Receive.
stand corrected.
But I receive it the way that you just explained it too, brother. I got you.
So anyway, I think that's going to wrap us up here tonight. You've experienced another episode of In Brotherly Love. Professor Adina, Neal, thank you so much. This is a hug for you. Every time I see Adina, I have to give her a hug because, her energy is just so infectious, and you'll have a great 6 months just from one hug from that woman. So if y'all see her in the street, you give her a hug and tell her Jay Wendell told you. This is another episode of In Brotherly Love. We'll see you next week. We'll be right back at you with another interesting topic for our discussion, and I'll just throw it up right there, and either one of my brothers can catch it before we let Professor Neal close us out.
Professor Neal, we thank you very much for coming on and just sharing your insight with us, and really enjoyed the conversation. And this is In Brotherly Love. Jeff Gordon. We'll be right back at you next week.
Hey, again, I reiterate, Dr. Adina, thank you for coming in and pinch hitting strong. You knocked this joint out the park shot. Yes, indeed. But hey, ladies and gentlemen, man, we've got so many vital issues, just like, and I received something that Professor Adina said, and Dr. Adina, which is, men, we can get on the front line, just like that young man did. And this is a fight for, in my opinion, like my wife said, this ain't they fight because they saw it coming, and I received that. But this is a fight that we as men, we have to pick up. This is a fight that white women, y'all have to pick up. This is a fight that white men, y'all have to pick up, because this affects everyone. And we just can't sit by, and we can't be complacent. In the state of Maryland, July 19th, we got them primaries coming up. You have to make your voice heard. Don't sit on the sideline and just expect anybody else to do it for you. They not going to do it for you. Brother, somebody ain't never got nothing done for nobody. So we have to be that somebody that we're looking for to get this thing done. So everybody, man, make your way to the polls. The way that we respond with our vote. And then we respond with our votes, our money, and our actions. We got to hold these elected officials accountable. We've got to put people in place that we feel that will work in our best interest. We can't just sit back and play this game from the sideline no more. So again, in brotherly love, Professor Ordina, going ahead and give us some closing expressions, and we out of here.
Real quick, Jay, when is early voting? Early voting is when?
Oh, it starts.
Early voting started. It started.
Yeah.
Started. So early voting is started.
All right.
I think my mail-in ballot is downstairs in my mailbox, so I'm going to be sending that in. But I will only close. First of all, I hope I'll be invited again, because this has been a blast. But the other thing that I want to say is that everyone, I know you've seen the phrase that says, "I am my ancestors' wildest dreams." And you should really work hard to make sure that's true, and not somebody that your ancestors would be ashamed of. You want to be somebody that would make your ancestors smile, or to know that they're smiling on you right now. And I'll tell you this, I saw a play once where this man had come back, went back in time and visited his great grandfather's slave rebellion. And he's trying to tell his grandfather, don't participate because you're going to get killed. I know you're going to get killed. I know the way that this is going to come out. And his grandfather, great grandfather tells him, I may be killed, but I know that I was successful because you exist. So I think it's important for us to remember to be brave, to remember that there are generations of people that are relying upon what you do right now to make sure that they exist. And all of us have that capacity within us. And that's all I have to say.
That was awesome.
Great word. Professor Odina Neal, University of Baltimore School of Law, the baddest professor in all the free world. If you ever get a chance, just say hello.
Oh my God, the free world.
Just
oh my
say
goodness.
hello to it. Just, and if you can shake her hand, I'm telling you, that's 6 months, good luck. If you give her a hug, that's going to be a year. I done upped it. If you give her a hug, it's going to be a year. Good luck. All right, y'all. So we're going to be right back at y'all next week. We're going to close the show out right here. Go ahead, Jace. What you got?
No, I was going to say, Professor Neal, I'm trying to run the MGM real quick. I'm going to holler at you in Baltimore. We're going to wrap offline.
But you know,
Uh-oh. What'd you say?
I ain't in Baltimore.
Oh.
You heard her talking about Julian Ivey. That's Glenn Ivey's son.
Oh, well, then
that's Glenn Ivey's son. So she must be somewhere down.
Yeah, I gotta make me a
area somewhere.
Yeah, I gotta make me a MGM run. So we gonna talk.
Okay, it's all good. It's all good.
All right, y'all.
Wonderful evening.
You too. And thanks again, Professor Neal.